What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the H2G podcast season 4. It is 7 p.m. It is Monday, and we have got a whole week of H2G fun, and we've got new faces, we got new mentalities, we've got a new year, and lots to talk about. I'm just going to go around the horn to Mr. Tony Ray. How you doing, man?
Oh, I'm doing great. We had a couple weeks off, but I'm excited for the new H2G podcast. How you been?
Oh, I've been fantastic. It's a new year, new me, new you, new everybody. I'm ready.
All right, 2021.
2021. Can't be worse than 2020.
Or can it?
It can be. No, yeah, let's see. Anyway, Richie, what's going on, man?
2021 started off worse than 2020, in my opinion, but we'll get to that later in the shows. So I will say this much. Looking forward to the season. I bought a whole bunch of new stuff. You already saw my TV and all that stuff. So at some point, I'm sure we'll have a little synopsis of my smart house. But in the meantime, I'm looking forward to it. The time off was nice. I gained about 5 pounds. I haven't been doing much from it. So hopefully this will get me back in the groove.
Absolutely. And we'll get over to, I know there's an elephant in the room, but I'm going to let Marvin take care of that. Christy.
Hey, how's it going?
How are you? I'm not calling anybody an elephant. I was like, God damn it. This is not a good, I was like, immediately, this is not a good analogy. I knew right as it was coming out. I didn't have a better one. But how are you, Christy?
Good. He's actually offended for me. Did you see that face?
He gave me the look right through the camera.
He did. He's like, you call my mom fat? Because she is. Yes. Living the dream. Excited to be back.
Yeah. Marvin, what's going on, man? You're outside. You just loving the weather?
Yeah. I'm that elephant you were talking about here. I guess you weren't talking about Christy. Christy wasn't talking about you. But yeah, I'm outside here. Under some weird circumstances right now. Like I said, before the show started, y'all already know, but we're good here. I'm safe. Everybody's safe here. I'm not back in New York yet, but speaking of being back, my good friend, my cat enthusiast, my cat mom, my friend since second grade is back, so I'm really excited about that, just as much as I am H2G being back. But I'm good. 2021 is getting off to a little bit of a rocky start. We'll get to that later on in the show, but back to the cat mom herself, Miss Chelsea. It's great to have you back. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm really excited to be back. For those who don't know, Marvin and I were on a radio show at the college that we went to for a number of years, which was a lot of fun. So when he reached out about this opportunity, I was like, that sounds fantastic. Yeah, represent. So yeah, I'm really excited. Yeah. It's snowing here in Dallas. So this is a nice way to pass the time so I don't have to go outside.
That's crazy. It's snowing in Texas.
Crazy. It's snowing.
Yeah.
I'm in Toledo and it's not even snowing. I'm almost as north as it
not
gets.
Getting any inches?
No, I don't know. It's sunny right now, actually. It's beautiful out. That's crazy.
Well, it's not like the last year or the start of this year made a lot of sense. So I guess we're right on track.
Right.
I just like the look on Christy's face. I like the look on Christy's face when Marvin said, "You're not getting any inches," and you can tell that the was in the gutter.
I saw that immediately.
I'm sorry. My hand
so
in the gutter.
Wow.
It's okay.
Well, Richie, you had brought up some of the streaming stuff that's going on. It's about to be an exciting year for. I know you were talking about HBO Max and Hulu. We got some experience with Hulu now.
Yeah, let me just get into it, man. We've been talking about a lot of things. We talked about Quibi and all the way back in season 1. It is defunct already. And I remember Marvin even said, if Fresh Prince of Bel-Air was on Quibi, he would pay for it. Well, guess what? It didn't come out and it went bankrupt. So sorry, Quibi. But you know what Fresh Prince of Bel-Air is on? It's on HBO Max. Go figure. And it's actually doing really well. So the first thing I want to talk about, guys, is HBO Max. And then after we kind of just talk about some of the movies that are going to appear on it, I want to know what your go-to streaming app is. It's going to be different. The 6 of us, I don't feel like we're all going to have the same. But just to recap, HBO Max is having all their Warner Brothers movies going to be on the app simultaneously released with movie theaters where applicable, not all states. The first one was Wonder Woman 1984. I don't know if you guys got to see that, but anyways, the very first one, 1984, the first 4K and Dolby Vision movie/media on HBO Max. Currently, it only offers 1080p for those of you who do know what that means. There are going to be 16 movies though in 2021. I'm just going to go through a quick rundown. One's called The Little Things, starring Denzel Jackson. Wow, Denzel Washington. Why did I say Jackson? Yo, that's hella racist. Denzel Washington, January 29th. The Little Things, he's going to be a deputy sheriff who went to LA and he was trying to gather some evidence and ends up finding a serial killer who's like murdering everyone in LA. Then we're going to have Judas and the Black Messiah. I'm really looking forward to this one. There's no release date yet. It's supposed to be spring, but this is actually about the Black Panther leader, Fred Hampton. He was assassinated by the FBI when he was 21 years old. And it's Daniel Kaluuya. He's the guy from Get Out. So if you know anything about him, I've really enjoyed some of his work and I'm very excited to see this movie. Then there's a Tom and Jerry movie, which quite frankly looks a little sus to me, but nonetheless, Tom and Jerry March 5th for the kids. The Many Saints of Newark, that's on March 12th. That one's actually going to be kind of crazy. It's actually a lot of these early releases are a lot more about African-American movies. And this one is about the 1960s during the Newark riots. So if you know anything about that, then cool. If you don't, you're about to find out about like Black and Italian communities that were like really at each other's throats during that period of time in New Jersey. The Reminiscence, that's something with Hugh Jackman on April 16th. I don't know too much about it. It's supposed to be a sci-fi. Hugh Jackman's like a scientist and he's trying to like relive his past. They haven't given a synopsis for the movie, but Hugh Jackman, April 16th. Who doesn't love Hugh Jackman? Then one I'm very curious to see actually, May 21st, Godzilla vs. King Kong. Warner Brothers had to pay $200 million to get the exclusive streaming right for this movie. So it could be released in addition to theater. So we might have a conversation about that at a later date, because that's a lot of money to pay when you already know like they're not making much money. Wonder Woman has made, I think, $80 million in theaters just due to COVID, and they're paying $200 million to like not to be able to stream it at the same time. That's The Conjuring, horror movie, June 4th. I know Marvin's going to be into that one already, so we don't even need to say anything. Horror movie, In the Heights. Justin, this one's a little more up your tea. Lin-Manuel Miranda's In the Heights, awesome musical coming out June 18th, HBO. Tony, Space Jam: A New Legacy with LeBron James, July 16th. Then The Suicide Squad, August 6th. I know he was going to be mad about that. He loves Michael Jordan. Suicide Squad, August 6th. If you know what that is, cool. If you don't, it's actually James Gunn. He had done Guardians of the Galaxy, and now he is swapped from Marvel to DC to The Suicide Squad. There's going to be the Dune movie. That might predate all of my cast members, but I'm very much looking forward to that. October 1st. Stars incredible lineup, but Oscar Isaac's in it. I love Oscar Isaac, anything he's in. Fantastic. Dune, really amazing movies in the 70s and 80s. King Richard is coming out November 19th. That's actually starring Will Smith, people, clarifying that. And it involves the Williams sisters. That's what it's about. Matrix 4th, December 22nd. I think you guys know what The Matrix is. We don't need to get into that one. And then there's a to-be-announced release date for the movie Mortal Kombat, the reboot. And then there's a movie called Malignant. I don't know anything about Malignant. I got nothing. All I know is it's the same director and creator, James Wan, that did Saw. So hopefully it'll be pretty cool. And Those Who Wish Me Dead, another horror story with Angelina Jolie. Looking forward to that. And then Cry Macho, for those of you who love those Clint Eastwood movies, he is directing that, and that will be in 2021. So that is 16 movies for pseudo-free if you're subscribing to HBO Max. So guys, HBO Max, in addition to, we failed to mention the Snyder Cut that we talked about in season 1 of H2G. That will be the Snyder Cut of the Justice League in 4 episodes. It's gonna be like 4 hours long, an hour per episode. So you're going to get 17 total movies in addition to the services that HBO already provides. Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, like Marvin had said he loved. So guys, is this enough for you if you don't have HBO to consider subscribing to be able to get movies that are coming out in the theater in addition to the title? So let's open up the floor. I'm going to start with Tony because he's kind of been pondering during most of this process. Tony, I know you already have a lot of subscriptions. I know you're a family man and you got to keep the budget going. But is this something you're willing to do?
I mean, I wouldn't decline it. I mean, you have access to watch newer movies that are coming out that, you know, we don't have the capabilities of going to a movie theater to actually get to watch some of these movies. So, I mean, I would consider it. But you're right. I can't be selfish. I have to think about my family and not just myself. So, you know, we have Hulu. I do like to watch TV shows, so we utilize Hulu for that. We have Disney Plus because I have a little girl who's 4 years old, and she likes all things Disney. I've seen pretty much all of them, even though I can't win the game of the week that is included on Disney unless Justo gives it to me, which he did. And then other than that, we have Amazon Prime. So, you know, it's hit or miss. You can buy movies and rent movies and things like that on Amazon, but I would rather not because I don't have the budget for it, like you brought up. So even with all that, I still come around right around about $35 to $40, which I could probably just get basic cable. But then again, I wouldn't have access to a lot of things that basic cable doesn't get from all these streaming services. So I have to weigh it out that way. But if you were looking for something that's decent and has different things coming out, oh, absolutely. HBO Max all the way.
All right, let's go over to Christy. Christy, what do you think? Is this something you'd be willing to subscribe to if you currently don't?
No. I literally, I'm not even going to play here. We all know that I'm a Marvel person, so I just really need Disney Plus in my life. Soul just came out, that's a good one. And then I go right back to Captain America, Thor Ragnarok, as you know. It's all I need in life. It's my Disney Plus.
And according to her, that's probably the chronological order too.
Yes. Get out of here. But yes, literally Thor Ragnarok, end game.
Justin, what do you think, man? If you're not subscribed, is this something you'd consider having all these movies?
I couldn't pick. Right now, I think I have all of them. I think I've got. I don't have Quibi. I'm sorry. HBO beat you to it. We made you a promise. If you did Fresh Prince, you would have had 5 right there. So I don't know. Yeah, HBO is worth it just because all of the series on there. I watched Lovecraft. I finally got to watch. The Flight Attendant actually was pretty good. I was surprised by that. I was a little like, what the heck is going on? And then what was the other one with Nicole Kidman? That was on HBO as well, right? The Undoing. Is that what you brought up? That was a fantastic movie. That was really, really good. Or show, I'm sorry, but it felt like a movie because they're these long 1-hour episodes. HBO is great at that. So not to mention all of Game of Thrones and then all the classic stuff they got on there. HBO is the way to go. But Disney Plus, I've been hitting them up a lot because they put Once Upon a Time on there, one of my favorite shows. And I never got past season 4 before, so I'm getting to finally finish that up. So
nice, man. Awesome. All right, Marv, what about you? The actor himself, who I know has HBO, who has told me about Lovecraft. What's your take on HBO Max, man? What do you think?
I love it. And, you know, from personal experience, I have it, and I can say it has everything. I say it's taken over. Like, there's not since Fresh Prince, Richie, there hasn't been a series they really haven't added yet. Like, even particularly like sketch comedy. Like, I can see Mad TV whenever I want. I can still see my Law and Orders. I can see everything that I see on Hulu and that I would have wanted at a Quibi on HBO Max. And plus, HBO Max is great for the documentaries. I mean, they're coming out with some really hot documentaries, like the new Tiger Woods documentary is coming out. That comes out today. So, I mean, like I said, I think it's worth it. You don't know when you're going to go back to the theaters again, you know, so I would say to get all these movies exclusively, I'm with it.
Yeah, okay. Chelsea, what do you think? Do you have HBO Max? Is it something you consider if you don't?
I don't have it. I mean, as of right now, I probably wouldn't. I'm not a big TV or movie person already, and I have Netflix and Hulu, and I hardly watch those. I probably favor Netflix a little bit, but I'm more of a either go out and find something to do or read a book or I've been getting back into working out, trying to, start off 2021 right. So I'm trying to do a little less of sitting on the couch and watching TV. So as of right now, I don't think I would. But if it was something where somebody was like, oh, here's my login, if you want to check it out, I would definitely check it out, see if it would be worth it.
Interesting.
Make sure to give you our logins.
And going out during COVID. You're not actually going out.
Well, yeah, not like, going
I'm playing
out, but
Yeah, I'm playing. Honestly, like that has been my lifestyle. Because of COVID, I didn't know what to do. It was like one of those, like my program stopped functioning and I was just sitting there like a goofball. So I ended up buying a TV and buying a lot nicer stuff. And I started watching and falling in love with TV movies because it was something I've never done. I've owned Netflix since 2007 and I didn't even start watching it until last year. Like genuinely, my sister and my family mooch it. And that's the only reason I had the subscription. But what I will say is this with HBO, and we're actually about to go around the horn on what your favorite app is. HBO Max is, I'm already going to spoil it, is my favorite app. And I'll get into all the other apps when we go through the process. But to me, as an adult, and again, I don't mean this in a condescending way, there's just a lot more material that I feel I value more, like documentaries, as Marvin said. There's a lot more interesting things. I think their TV shows, just, when you talk about even their older ones, The Wire is my favorite show ever. The Wire, Sopranos, Game of Thrones, you have all of that. Now they're throwing this into the mix where there's, new content of movies in addition to their original content, as Justin mentioned. They already have original content, HBO Max exclusive content. Then they have their HBO shows, their HBO movies, their HBO Max original movies, these Warner Brother movies, and their original documentaries. So they're offering a lot to the table to what I would consider more adults. And so again, what is your goal? And we'll go around the horn for that. But for me, I just think it offers such a versatile amount of different things that I tend to enjoy. I like more serious things. I like, comedy specials. Netflix is the only real competitor in that regard. So it's been a great experience for me. And if you are interested in checking it out, up to January 15th, if you do a 6-month subscription, you actually get, I think it was like, you get it for $10 a month instead of $16, I think is what it is. So something to consider when this is released. You're going to have about 3 or 4 days to make that decision, but it's something I think you should consider just because it's a big bargain. I've already put that on. It's for new and returning, and anyone who has a subscription now. So everyone has access to it. It's up until January 15th, I think 6 p.m., give or take. I'm not an employee of HBO, but you know what? You could give it to me for free, guys. I'm trying my hardest for you. So nonetheless, favorite app, we're going to go in reverse. So Chelsea, we're starting with you. What is your favorite streaming app?
Well, like I said, I do have Netflix and Hulu, and I think I lean a little more heavily to Netflix. I think I've had it longer. I'm used to the interface for it. And I also like a lot of their original content. So I've been really happy with like Haunting of Hill House, Haunting of Bly Manor, some of the things that they've put out in addition to, I don't know, I would say some of the more popular ones like Schitt's Creek has been one that I've been obsessing over. Just got my mom hooked to it as well. Just bought a sweatshirt with a scene from it on there. So I'm kind of obsessed. It's fine. But yeah, I've just been really happy with Netflix getting, things that I would consider to be like popular fan favorites, but then also bringing in unique content that they are creating, and they do a really good job with it. So I've been pretty happy with it.
Nice. So Netflix, cool. Marvin, how about you? What's your favorite streaming app that you're currently using?
My favorite streaming app, non-sports related.
Non-sports related.
Non-sports related. All right, got it. Well, I'm gonna have to say old school Netflix, man. Netflix was there from the beginning, since the freshman year college days, and it's still going strong. Like, they've started to expand, like their 90s movies. They've started to add more of my favorite 90s movies. Like, they've started to like add things that I've said for years. I'm like, why don't they add the Fridays? They did it. They're always on top of the documentaries, so it's always been my go-to. HBO Max is on the come up. I definitely, it's becoming harder to compete, but I'd say Netflix, I give them number one spot.
All right. Justin, how about you?
I'm gonna go ahead and shout out somebody who's watching us right now. YouTube, baby. I love all of the streaming apps, but YouTube, I enjoy it because sometimes I don't want to watch something that I have to be like fully emotionally invested into. You know, I love watching. What's that guy? Ozzy Man. His reviews are hilarious, and I can watch those for just as long as I would watch like 3 seasons of something. You know, and you know, you got cool podcasts like the H2G podcast on YouTube. Not to mention all the free movies as we've discussed before. They've got like every James Bond on there. So I've actually been going back through some of the old James Bond movies and checking those out. So I'm going to go with YouTube.
YouTube, interesting decision, but I will say this, man. We kind of talked about this off air. One thing I love about YouTube is their interface. If you have the technology, there are some things that are broadcast in 8K, and I don't have an 8K TV, but for those people who do, they can actually watch it in 8K, and they can watch it in Dolby Vision. They can watch it in HDR10 plus. Like, there's a lot of the streaming quality, the actual video and audio perspective. YouTube is by far ahead of everybody. So I'm also on, you know what, Justin? I almost think YouTube as well. But Christy, what's your take? I'm going to think about this more.
That's such a good question because Chelsea mentioned Schitt's Creek, and I literally was watching that yesterday. And it's
I know,
so
but you said you were talking
is so
Disney
good. It's like my 3rd time watching it, and it's Chelsea. Who's your favorite character?
Oh gosh, that's so hard. I mean, I really like David. I feel like everything that comes out of his mouth is quotable.
Yeah. I just love this, how she always responds, "Ew, David."
Yeah.
Ew.
Well, I also love how like Moira does such a phenomenal job. I mean, she even has her own accent for her character.
Yes.
Like, it's just, I mean, overall, the entire show is just casted so perfectly, and they did a phenomenal job with it. But I would say probably David and Moira are 2 of my favorites.
Just fold in the cheese. That's the episode I watched today. How do you fold in the cheese? Oh my God, I love it so much. Okay. But I mentioned earlier Disney Plus. I don't know. Now I'm torn between the two. It's just so good. I have to have my Thor Ragnarok, and Netflix just doesn't have that anymore. So we're gonna stick with Disney Plus.
Going with Disney Plus. Interesting decision, actually. I like it. Tony, how about you?
Well, you know, I don't have all the streaming services to actually, you know, give a judgment, but I will tell you off of what I have, you know, Hulu and Netflix, and hearing everybody else talk. I like seeing competitions. So, you know, I like Hulu for that. You know, it's got The Voice, it's got The Masked Singer, it's got different things of that nature. I'm really getting into shows like Blind Spot, SWAT, let's see. But for Netflix, for me, it, you know, The 100, if you've never seen it, is a really good show. I didn't like how it ended. Carrie and I watch, Carrie's my wife, we watch baking shows. So they have a lot of baking shows that are on Netflix as well. And then Troy, Fall of the City is really good. I like to watch that one. And then, of course, the series that gets me going every single time, Black Mirror. So for me, Netflix is definitely my go-to if I have to watch something, but I can't knock, you know, what everybody else is bringing up and what you brought up about HBO Max. But for me, I'm sticking with what I can afford.
Yeah, and you know what? All I'm going to do is kind of go through the recaps and the pros and the cons, because I actually own them all at the moment. I think, you know, the safest option is Netflix because it has a versatile documentaries. It has incredible original content. And to Marvin's point, and for people, in my opinion, of our age category, it has a lot of those nostalgic movies we loved. So from that perspective, it's hard to go wrong. If you ever need a comfort moment to just watch something you know you're going to like, Netflix has that. And then they have a lot of original content for those of you who kind of like, I had a long day at work. I don't really want to think, but I want to watch something new. Their content, there's so much of it. I personally don't find it that great from my perspective, but they have Dolby Vision, HDR10 plus. They're at the top of the food chain with audio and video. So for the price and what you get, it's hard to say Netflix isn't the best. And also for your children, the amount of products for like children and the television shows it offers, it's incredible. So that's always, you know, if you got to pick one, I don't see why you wouldn't necessarily pick Netflix. It's easily just so good. Disney Plus is incredible for children. It's also incredible for people like Christy who love Marvel. But it's going to be really good. And honestly, at a later date during the season, we're going to talk about it a lot more in depth because they also announced some incredible things. We do not have time to discuss it though. So there's going to be a lot of really good things. To me, if I were to pick one thing for everyone, Disney Plus. That's what I would suggest. For the price, I think it's $7. I don't remember. I'm paying so many of these things. It's hard to remember. But Disney Plus has everything. Incredible movies, incredible television shows, especially this year. There's gonna be like 7 Marvel television shows, so I'm sure Christy's gonna be excited about that. There's gonna be 3 more Star Wars. I'm not a huge fan of that, but The Mandalorian is incredible. Like, so bang for your buck, Disney. It also comes in like 4K and audio. So it's just intense, $7. You can't beat it. Amazon Prime. I mean, I'm not going to say anything negative about it but I don't think you're subscribing to Amazon Prime for the video. You're subscribing for the delivery service, but it has free things on it in that sense, and you can't go wrong with it. So if you're subscribing to Amazon Prime for the delivery, hey, you got something. But if I were to talk about its library, it's not so great personally. Hulu is obviously, to Tony's point, like an incredible service for what it offers. You can't really go wrong. I can't really talk too much about it because most of it's really live TV. There's some original content, but for the most part, it's live TV. And then we'll just get into HBO Max. I think HBO Max, as I already said earlier, has a lot of greats in terms of original content. I think for somebody who's audio video, you probably get frustrated because it's only in 1080p, and currently they're working their way upward to start doing 4K. So for that reason alone, if I were to rank them, I would say Disney Plus is just a must if you can afford the $7. And then I would say Netflix offers the most. So if you want the most, you go Netflix. If you want like something that's just going to get you a lot for something for very little, I'd say Disney Plus. And if you have the swing, I would go with HBO. So for me as a person, I would go HBO and Disney Plus. I don't really enjoy most of the Netflix content on my perspective, but general audience, go Netflix. There's a lot of crazy things going on with audio and video right now. And honestly, these apps are just getting crazier and crazier. And we're going to get into that with Disney because they're also offering their movies going to be on their app. The difference is, unlike HBO, they're going to start charging. So we'll talk about that later. Charging for movies. $30 to watch a Disney movie on Disney. $30. That's how much Mulan was. But 6 months later, now Mulan is on the app for free. You don't have to pay for it. So that's why the HBO thing's, I think, interesting and appealing. And I'm hoping Netflix will raise the bar up because every year they charge us more. I don't know if you guys ever noticed that. I pay attention to my credit card bill. Every year it goes up by $1 or $2. In this case, it actually went up $2. I'm paying $18 for Netflix. $18, guys. 18. Disney Plus is $7. That's why I'll always tell everyone buy Disney Plus. Like, there's so much good stuff on there for $7 fucking dollars. So anyhow, I feel like that's going to be the end of our segment, but hold on, I need. So folks, we're doing a new format. So tonight is my last word. And what I do want to say is we've been through some tumultuous times, and we're going to get to that later during the week. But I think what's really important is we're having an opportunity to move on. And so regardless of what's been going on, I think it's important to acknowledge what you feel and what other people may feel. And if you don't agree with what they feel, that's up to you. I don't want to try to force people, because some people take things very aggressively. I personally do myself. If somebody doesn't agree with what I agree and it's for like social or, like living purposes, whether it's their gender, their creed, and their thought process, then you're out of my life. I unfriend you on Facebook. I mute you. Get out of here. See, like, some people like to talk. They like to be like, hey, let me try to like convert you to my side. No. There's no conversion. We're humans. We have our own thought process. If you believe in what you believe and it contradicts with what I believe, get the fuck out of my life. That's all I'm just playing. But in all
GTFO.
GTFO, people. But in all seriousness, like I said, it's very challenging, and we're going to talk about this more, so I don't want to comment on it too much, but it's been very difficult. We had an insurrection. It is what it is. Quite frankly, to me, it was very disgusting. So just try to stay positive with things. We're going to have a new president. So whether you agree with that or not, just like what they talked about 4 years ago and Dave Chappelle had mentioned, try to have an open heart. Just we have this person hasn't come into office. Give them an opportunity, whether you agree with their policies or not. And love each other. And we're going to see you guys tomorrow at 7 p.m. same time. So looking forward to it. And until then, see you at the H2G podcast.